Come on, guys. You already know what today is. It's Update Monday! What's going on with you guys? TheCaliEffect, king of games here, and it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, over 9 weeks of kicking rheumatoid arthritis' ass. We are in week 10. Now I have to give a special thanks for my doctor for acting on this quick, for you guys being there for me when I needed y'all the most, and of course Sabrina, the most loveliest woman in the world, for not only sticking by my side despite her own ailments, for not touching any of my Yu-Gi-Oh shit when I'm away. Seriously, sometimes she's a complete disaster if you leave her around Yu-Gi-Oh cards. She sees shiny cards, she picks them up, and I don't know where they went. A lot of people may not know this, but I think it's really important for you to know your energy actually dictates the outcome of a lot of things that you go through. In life, everyone's going to meet an obstacle that's going to be negative, and we can't control it. But one thing we can control is our energy and our outlook, and that's actually the difference between you rising above the occasion and not necessarily being strong enough. I know that this is an old saying, but it is true. Health is wealth, and it's not just your physical health, it's your mental health. Another thing that's wealth is, well, wealth. And in this video, I'm going to be discussing some cards that you should buy before it depletes your wallet. Now, there were some cards that skyrocketed in price without me making a video. Does that mean we get to blame Konami? No? We're blaming me? Still? I guess that's fair. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you some cards that I'm actually looking to pick up, and maybe you should pick up as well, because I do a pretty good job at this. Of course, if you want to see more content like this, then be sure to destroy that subscribe button, and also be sure to hit that notification bell if you want to be one of the first people to see these videos and also be too strong. Without further ado, let's jump on in and talk about those cards that you should buy before they skyrocket in price. Now, from a competitive standpoint, King's Court was not good. You can actually say it was a total flop, as none of the cards that made their debut inside of the set made any translation to the remote dual YCS. You could attribute that to King's Court dropping immediately before the YCS, and some players may be looking to pick up some cards. I personally think that Joker's Knight could be one of those cards, and it's definitely a card that I've been looking at, like how Sebastian looks at CL. That maybe not that type of way. Joker's Knight is a level 5 light warrior monster with 2000 attack and 1400 defense, and its effect reads, you can send one Queen's, King's, or Jack's Knight from your deck to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand. And if you do, this card's name becomes that set monster's name until the end phase. During the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one other light warrior monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, add this card to your hand. You can only use each effect of Joker's Knight once per turn. Now, I don't think that it's a stretch to compare Joker's Knight to a card that we received before Magician's Souls. It allows you to send a particular card from your deck to the graveyard to summon this card to your side of the field for free. And while Magician's Souls basically reads Pot of Greed, Joker's Knight kind of reads, I don't know, Transmigration of Prophecy? Regardless how you look at it, Joker's Knight is a free special summon to your side of the field in the form of a level 5 light warrior monster. This means that monsters like Constellar Pleiades immediately come to mind, but also it can return light warrior monsters from your graveyard to your deck and add it to your hand. This also means that you only have to play one Jack's, King's, or Queen's Knight inside of your deck, making this fairly splashable for decks that don't want to play the entire Trinity. Now, I don't expect to see any competitive play from the Poker Knight strategy, but saying that this is a free warrior monster to summon to your side of the field, decks like Infernal Knights could eventually take advantage of this, or possibly some other warrior decks in the future. Joker's Knight is currently sitting at $15 per copy on the TCG market. I don't see this card hitting Magician's Souls type numbers, but I do think that this card is relatively useful, and since it's coming from a side set that's not seeing competitive play, it's definitely a good pickup. Now, ironically, the last main set in Lightning Overdrive didn't make a huge stride inside of the competitive meta either. and that's actually okay. Phantom Rage is just starting to make strides, with Tri-Brigade and Virtual Roll being some of the best decks in the format. If you want to see deck profiles, well, all you gotta do is check out the channel. I got them both. Basically, what I'm thinking is that these sets are designed to mature over time, and this is actually the best possible chance to pick up some cards while they're cheap before they become in demand. Cards like Book of Lunar Eclipse immediately come to mind because it's a card that retrains an old school powerful card in Book of Moon and kind of makes it different? I don't want to say better, but different is the correct word. Book of Lunar Eclipse says you can discard one card and target 2 face-up monsters on the field and flip them both face down. Now, the reason why Book of Lunar Eclipse isn't thought of as a great card or even better than Book of Moon, because you have to discard one card and you have to target 2 monsters on the field. Talk about a neg 3, like God. But we also have to remember its predecessor in Book of Moon has seen spots of competitive play and definitely comes in and out of the meta no matter where it is on the forbidden list. Book of Lunar Eclipse doesn't see any competitive play and probably shouldn't right now, but it definitely has tons of potential. Against certain strategies where Book of Moon may not do enough damage, Book of Lunar Eclipse can actually do just the right amount. Being able to flip 2 of your opponent's monsters face down, meaning that they can't Synchro Link or Exceed summon with them, could end your opponent's entire turn. There's also archetypes like Subterra or Shadow that can actually benefit from having their monsters flip face up to face down, and potentially in the future, we could see another archetype that can benefit from Book of Lunar Eclipse. Currently, Lunar Eclipse is a $7 Yu-Gi-Oh card, and I personally think that's around the floor of what this card would be worth. Now, I do think that you'd have to be a little lunar to not pick up this card when it's low, because eventually at some point in time, Book of Lunar Eclipse will be a sought after card, and having a playset of secret rares or even the Starlight rares if you want to swag out will come in handy. I think almost for sure this card can eclipse its current price in the future. Now, Konami tends to give obvious signs of cards coming off the forbidden list that just go over players' heads. One of them was so obvious even that I don't look into future sets. I mean, it literally just screamed it's going to come off the forbidden list. I mean, it may not be obvious that Emergency Teleport is a card that's been limited on the forbidden list for quite some time, and it just so happens to be able to special summon level 3 or lower psychic monsters from your deck to your side of the field, and that monster will be banished during the end phase. Emergency Teleport was limited because Krebens was such a powerful card for Teleport Dark Arm, it allowed them to get dark monsters and synchro monsters to their side of the field. So, the card was then unlimited and then limited again because Cosmo had a 1-card OTK. So, I think it's fairly safe to say that Emergency Teleport can come off the list. I mean, I don't know, and Cosmo might destroy the meta and Teleport Dark Arm might be too strong. Virtual Roll to get a boost, I guess. I mean, maybe not this upcoming forbidden list, but I think sometime soon Emergency Teleport will come off the list, and when it does, you will need multiple copies of this card because, well, I mean, it's off the list. Now, if you wanted to invest into ultra rare Emergency Teleports, you have quite a few sets to choose from. The Duelist Genesis, High Speed Rider, and Ghost from the Past all feature Emergency Teleports as an ultra rare. If you wanted to get a secret rare Emergency Teleport, well, it's a little bit harder. Legendary Collection 5Ds is a set that everyone wished that they ate more of, like Goku. Fortunately, it's still only a $10 secret rare. Now, if you guys wanted to invest into ultimate rares and have a tuning situation that I predicted way back then, you can get ultimate rare copies of Emergency Teleport currently for $47. I know it sounds like a steep investment, but if Emergency Teleport, or should I say when Emergency Teleport comes off the forbidden list, it'll be an emergency because these cards will literally teleport off the market. Moving back to Lightning Overdrive, there is a card that I feel is really good still, and I think if players overlook it, it's going to be a card that will rose to the occasion and you'll regret not picking up. Rudy Rose Dragon is a level 10 Fire Dragon Synchro monster that of course came out in the Lightning Overdrive set and has some really dangerous effects. What this card does is if it's Synchro summoned, it banishes all cards in the graveyard. Then if it used Black Rose Dragon or a plant Synchro monster as material, you can destroy all other cards on the field. Also, when your opponent activates a card or effect that would destroy cards on the field, you can tribute this card, negate the activation, then you can special summon one Black Rose Dragon from your extra deck or graveyard. Now, the thing that I really want to focus on with Rudy Rose Dragon is that when this card is Synchro summoned, you can banish all cards in the graveyards. I literally cannot talk about how not only is this card a level 10 synchro, which we don't have a lot of great ones, it also allows you to get rid of one of the most important resources in the current Yu-Gi-Oh card game, something that a lot of decks can't deal with if you get into the late game and just so happen to banish all cards in the graveyard. Saying that Rudy Rose is a card that won't get reprinted until at least potentially 2022, I think that it's a fine card to at least start picking up from. Yes, it does have its risks being a synchro monster, one of the least popular extra deck mechanics right now, but it definitely could pay off as it's clearly one of the best level 10 synchro monsters in the game. Rudy Rose is currently sitting at $10 a copy. I think that is a solid price for what this card does. And the last card is a card that I still have not been able to find or pick up, mainly because it's a collector's rare, and collector's rares are pretty hard to come by. Rivalry of the Warlords got a rarity upgrade inside of the King's Court set. You guys should already know what this card does, but for the people that don't, when this card is activated, both players choose one type. They send all other monsters on the graveyard not that type, and while this card is face up on the field, they can only control monsters of that type. Rivalry of the Warlords has been a very powerful card for quite some time. Preventing players from summoning multiple types of monsters can lock them out of the extra deck, or being able to summon that monster that they need to their side of the field. Now, Rivalry of the Warlords does come at an expensive penny. If you want collector's rare copies of this card, it's going to be $50. But have you seen the other collector's rare cards? Sometimes good collector rare staple cards are extremely expensive. I think when King's Court runs out of print, this is going to be one of them. But I should probably start looking for them now, right? I mean, because I make cards skyrocket in price, and I'm obviously being counterproductive. Well, that is all that I have for today's video. If you guys just so happen to be buying any of these cards, be sure to use my TCG player link down below in the comment section. I really do appreciate it. Also, be sure to check out these videos as they're amazing TheCaliEffect content, and I'll catch you on the next one.